What are the spiritual gifts and lessons of each of the 4 attachment styles? Stay tuned to find out what I think about that. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Diana and I am here to assist you on your journey of spiritual growth and personal development. And today I want to make this video to share my opinion about every one of the 4 main attachment styles from a spiritual perspective. I will be using attachment theory as a background to provide a basis for the 4 main groups of early childhood experiences brought about by the interaction between the early environment and development of one's personality. But why does it matter? Well, I think it's important for several reasons. We often look for the meaning of our life, right? We want to know our life's purpose, and sometimes we find ourselves looking at other people and wondering how come their life seems to be that much easier, and how come we have such a hard time of getting our life together. The thing is, if we feel good and happy, we rarely ask those questions. We may never even look for the meaning of our life or the reason for our existence because there is no need to. Everything is fine and we just go on living and enjoying our lives. But if that is not the case, we may start looking for answers. And sometimes we dig pretty deep. We go back to our origins to look what went wrong there. And sometimes we wonder why. Why did I have to go through all those conditions that seemingly damaged me? Was it just to suffer for the rest of my life? And what can I do about that? I cannot change my past, right? Sometimes we simply put up with that. But I don't want you to put up with not knowing the meaning of why something has happened. I myself have spent almost all my life battling unhappiness and loneliness and constant identity crisis. And the only way I could deal with that was asking questions and looking for answers. And today I want to share my perspective in hopes that you may be able to see, even just for a little bit, that there is actually a good reason behind everything, and that your biggest challenges may actually be directly linked to your life's purpose. Before we start, please remember that this is just a generalization made up by me with regards to the putative attachment styles. You, on the other hand, as an individual, you are unique and cannot be replicated. And your life's story, as well as your life's purpose, will most likely be a mixture of everything, in varying doses for each and every one of you. So do take this as an inspiration, but not as an absolute truth. Find your own truth. But now let's get to it. Let me start with the avoidant attachment style. You guys could be emotionally very self-sufficient and self-reliant, and one of your biggest challenges could be commitment and understanding and meeting emotional needs of your partners. So you rather avoid that or feel a great deal of discomfort in this regard. But your attachment style does come with huge gifts, in my opinion. You guys can strive under conditions and in situations where the natural need to form close relationships may be failing other people. I think that the greatest downside of making close relationships is the lack of objectivity that comes with it. It's not that easy to stay impartial in situations where it may be required to weigh the greater good against the good of your loved ones. Poor decisions can be made both globally and personally if we let our personal needs and the needs of those closest to us to cloud our judgment. Because sometimes what may bring immediate good may actually be detrimental in the long run. And this is where you shine, avoidant style. You can make your judgment free from relationship bias. You could do very good at professions that require excellent problem solving and decision making skills, like military, politics, various leadership and management positions, also medicine and exact sciences. Um, you could be brilliant in those cases when serving a higher idea and even driving the progress of the whole humanity are required, as that often comes with great sacrifices on a personal level. For you guys, such a life path may not be a sacrifice at all. You could spend your whole life traveling the world and studying oceans, for example, or solving mathematical problems, or looking for novel engineering solutions, and so on and so forth, without wasting your energy on meeting other people's needs. As being super focused on your goals and your ideas is what makes you happy. And you doing that would actually bring a lot of good to us all, as you would use your talent in a way that really serves the greatest good. If you think of it that way, your early conditions really start to make sense. Maybe you would never be able to make your genius discovery or invention if you would be a committed family man or woman. Maybe that is exactly what is required for living your life's purpose. Now, what you need to learn though is that you are actually a part of us all, and that your actions do have an impact on other people. Since you may have a tendency to put yourself above others and consider your needs first, you should learn to respect other people and recognize their worth and effort. I think for you it is of huge importance that you do have a close connection with a greater idea and purpose that can do good for larger groups of people. That is your way to do your part. Not so much participating in lives of individual people, but working towards a greater goal. But even then, other people will always accompany you. They will be around to assist you, to do something for you. They will be your clients, your coworkers, even your family members, your children. And they all have this inherent value that you must learn to appreciate. Even if from a safe distance, there will be always someone who gets you. And there will always be those who don't. Focus on those who do and let the rest just be. Ultimately, you could experience closeness if that's something you're up to. Look for that among like-minded people who understand your struggle, and you will live a balanced and fulfilled life. Now, the anxious attachment style. You are in many ways just the opposite from the avoidant style. Your intimate partners mean everything to you, or close to that, and you may feel like out of whack if there is no one in your life. Unfortunately, people often take advantage of you, and it's hard for you to do anything about that. Your biggest gift, however, is the affection for and ability to feel other people. You may be especially sensitive towards others' needs, their moods and emotional state, so you could sometimes be like an emotional radar, constantly picking up on what's going on with others around you, as your own mood is so closely linked to theirs. You can really excel at helping professions, as you are willing to pay close attention to others, and maintaining a good personal contact is really important to you, as your own sense of safety depends on that. Your gift is to make other people feel good. And the number one reason why you are so good at that is because you care. You truly care about the positive and uplifting emotional interchange that takes place around you. It's like the more you try, the better others feel. The better they feel, the more they stick around. The more they stick around, the better you feel, and the more you try. And so it keeps spiraling upwards. You could be an excellent teacher or counselor or an HR specialist. A sensitive and empathetic team leader, somebody who is able to make people feel valued and appreciated. But of course, you also have your lessons. When unbalanced, your attachment style could actually make you pretty selfish, and you could manipulate others to get your needs met. So you should learn to be very clear and direct when it comes to your needs and motivation. It is by no means an obligation of other people to take care of you, but it also doesn't mean that you are unimportant. You must learn to recognize this difference and understand how to make relationships in such a way that respects other people's autonomy and free will, while at the same time you respecting your autonomy and free will. It is super important that you learn to set and reinforce your boundaries. Be super clear not only about your needs, but also about what you won't allow. Learn to communicate directly. Get to know your preferences, what you like and what you don't like. You are supposed to learn what a strong identity and sense of self really means. And this is exactly the ultimate purpose of your life. To get to know who you are. When you are finally able to integrate your gifts and lessons, you become a compassionate and caring human being with a strong sense of purpose. Disorganized attachment style. It seems that you guys have chosen the hardest of paths among the other attachment styles. There was something in your early conditions that made you long for and fear the same thing. In your heart, you may desire closeness, maybe even more than anything else. But at the same time, it feels so far out of reach and so full of risk that you better stay by yourself and safe. Enduring a state of continuous ambivalence can indeed be very hard. Sometimes you may feel like your own worst enemy, sabotaging your own happiness. But on the other hand, you are not sure whether you will be able to handle the very thing your heart wants. What you may not be aware of, though, is that there is certainly something very positive about ambivalence. If you work with your conflicting feelings, and learn to understand and truly empathize with both sides of your inner arguments, you develop an ability that not many of us have. An ability to simultaneously hold opposing perspectives and see how they are both true. If only you set your mind to it, you can get to understand everything. Every contradiction on this planet, which there are so many of. And thus, by inclusion and acceptance, you become a vessel of reconciliation. Once you finally stop the war within yourself, you can truly contribute to creating peace far beyond the boundaries of your person. And another thing, only those who have been locked up can understand what freedom truly means. You may have felt paralyzed by your inner conflicts, but once you are able to move past that paralysis and liberate yourself, the sense of your newly discovered inner freedom doesn't resemble anything. Such a relief it is. Your legacy is transcendence. This is the gift you share with the world. But your transformation process can really require you to go through many hard lessons. And now it is totally up to you and how ready you are, if ever, to go through this process. I think the hardest thing for you guys is to get to that point where you are able to realize that resolution could be possible, that there is something you don't see but can find out. Finding faith is your biggest challenge. The desire to just be normal will most likely get the upper hand, so you most likely will bury your inner struggle as deep as possible and attempt to live that normal life. But the shift that needs to happen is this. you must realize that you are not meant to have a normal life. Your psychological architecture demands you to have an extraordinary life, and it is only through radical self-acceptance when you are finally able to see that. Your journey will unfold from that point on. The question you need to answer for yourself is whether you want to be on board or not. Because your happiness is not going to look like anything you have ever known this far. Finally, the secure attachment style. From the perspective of other attachment styles, you guys may seem to have gotten the lucky ticket. Of course, you still have your struggles like we all do, but when it comes to your emotional well-being and relationships, you feel pretty safe and stable. The same is true about your self-esteem. You respect yourself, and you respect other people, and you move through life without much emotional drama. The inner peace and self-reliance are one of your biggest gifts. What I find particularly attractive about you is the way you enjoy life and the present moment, and how you take opportunities life throws at you. Generally, you tend to be less fearful and more confident when it comes to going after your goals. Whenever you set your mind to something and put in the effort, you get the success that you desire because you don't stand in your own way and are pretty much in line with yourself. You help making this world a safe and predictable place to live in, as just by your presence you reassure the rest of us that it is okay, that life is good and enjoyable and productive. There's so much to learn from you. How to do what you enjoy, and how to create what you want. You live your life with such a beautiful lightness, a touch of joy, but strength and groundedness at the same time. It inspires. It truly does. But you also have your lessons though. A major one for you guys is to be able to appreciate this gift of yours. We often take for granted what has been naturally given to us. The lack of inner conflict can make it so that you hardly ever feel the tension to do something about your gifts and talents, so you are at risk of becoming complacent. You could rob the aura of uniqueness from your own life if you let yourself fall asleep. You must keep looking around and learning about life. There is always so much more to learn about, to experience, to discover. The purpose of your life is a stable development and expansion of whatever it is that your heart desires, whatever passion lies there. And remember that it is up to you to make your life a masterpiece. I don't want to say that some styles are better than others. I want to say balance. It is all about balance. We have our special gifts and talents, and we are wired towards different things just to be able to create balance and sustainable growth by being in our place and doing our job and having a deep respect for others doing the same. We embrace our differences, we welcome them, and we treat them as a great and precious resource to create growth and prosperity for us all. At least that is what we should strive for. So here you have it. This is how I see different attachment styles from a spiritual perspective. I hope this video was thought-provoking, and if it does, do subscribe and hit the like button. I'm sending you all my love, and always remember to be true to yourself and kind to the other. Bye-bye.